Sometimes rock and roll history can be made just by a decision by one person putting up a goal or request on a school's notice board. Now, in 1976, Larry Mullen Jr., then a 14-year-old pupil of Mount Temple Comprehensive School in Dublin, Ireland, posted a note on the school's notice board in search of musicians for a new band. At least 5 people responded and attended the first practice, which was held on the 25th of September in Mullen's kitchen. Mullen played drums and was joined by Paul Hewson, Bono on lead vocals, David Evans, The Edge, and his older brother Dick on guitar. Adam Clayton, a friend of the Evans brothers who had played bass, and Ivan McCormick was also part of the band. Later, of course, to become U2. Now, Mullen later described it as the Larry Mullen Band for about 10 minutes. Then Bono walked in and blew any chance I had being in charge. Peter Martin, a friend of Mullen and McCormick, loaned his guitar and amplifier for the first practice, but he could not play and he was quickly phased out. Sources differ on whether he was in attendance at the first meeting or not. McCormick was dropped from the group after a few weeks. The remaining 5 members settled on the name Feedback for the group because it was one of the few technical terms they knew. Early rehearsals took place in their music teacher's classroom at Mount Temple. Most of their initial material consisted of covers, which they admitted was not their forte. Emerging punk rock acts such as the Stranglers, the Jam, the Clash, the Buzzcocks, and Sex Pistols were strong influences on the group. The popularity of punk convinced them that musical proficiency was not a prerequisite to success. In April 1977, Feedback played their first gig for a paying audience at St. Vincent's High School. Shortly thereafter, the band changed their name to The Hype. Now, Dick Evans, who was older and at that time attending college, was becoming the odd man out. The rest of the band was leaning towards the idea of a 4-piece ensemble. In March 1978, the group changed their name to U2. Steve Alverley, a punk rock musician with the Radiators from Space and a family friend of Clayton's, had suggested 6 potential names from which the band chose U2 for its ambiguity and open-ended interpretations, and because it was the name that they disliked the least. Now, Dick was officially phased out of the band with a farewell concert at Presbyterian Hall in Sutton on March 4th. During the show, which featured the group playing cover songs as The Hype, Dick ceremonially walked off stage. The remaining 4 band members returned later in the concert to play original material as U2. Dick joined on their band, the Virgin Prunes, which comprised mutual friends of U2's. The Prunes were the default opening act early on, and the 2 groups often shared members for live performances to cover for occasional absences. On March 18th, the 4-piece U2 won the Pop Group 78 Talent Contest, sponsored by the Evening Press and Guinness Harp Lager as part of the Limerick Civic Week. The win was an important milestone and affirmation for a fledgling act. The contest prize consisted of £500 and a recording session for a demo that would be heard by record label CBS Ireland. U2's demo tape was recorded at Keystone Studios in Dublin in April 1978, but the results were largely unsuccessful due to their inexperience and young age. Now, The Edge, talking about the winning that, we couldn't believe it. I was completely shocked. We weren't of any age to go out partying as such, but I don't think anyone slept that night. Really, it was just a great affirmation to win that competition, even though I have no idea how good we were or what the competition was really like. But to win at that point was incredibly important for morale and everyone's belief in the whole project. Now, the Irish magazine Hot Press, very influential, played a big part in shaping U2's future. In addition to being one of their earliest allies, the publication's journalist Bill Graham introduced the band to Paul McGuinness, who agreed to be their manager in mid-1978. With the connections he was making within the music industry, he booked demo sessions for the group and sought to garner them a record deal. The band continued to build their fan base with performances across Ireland, the most famous of which was a series of weekend afternoon shows at Dublin's Dandelion Market in the summer of 1979. In August of that year, they recorded demos at Windmill Lane Studios with CBS talent scout Chase DeWhaley as producer, marking the first of the band's many recordings at the studio during their career. The following month, 3 songs for the sessions were released with CBS as the Ireland-only EP3. It was the group's first chart success, selling on 1,000 copies of its limited edition 12-inch vinyl almost immediately. From there, things happened very quickly. In December '79, the band performed in London for the first shows outside Ireland, although were unable to gain much attention from audiences or critics. On February 26, 1980, their second single, Another Day, was released on the CBS label, but again only for the Irish market. The same day, U2 played a show at the 2,000-seat National Stadium in Dublin as part of an Irish tour. Now, despite their gamble of booking a concert in such a large venue, the move paid off. Bill Stewart, an A&R representative for Island Records, was in attendance and offered to sign him to the label. The following month, the band signed a 4-year, 4-album contract with Island, which included a £50,000 advance and £50,000 in tour support. Of course, in May 1980, 11 O'Clock TikTok, their first international single and debut on Ireland, was released, but it failed to chart. Now, Martin Harnett, who produced the single, was later produced the band's debut album, Boy, but ultimately was replaced by still Steve Lillywhite. From July to September 80, U2 recorded the album at Windmill Lane Studios, drawing from their nearly 40-song repertoire at the time. Lillywhite suggested recording Mullins drums in a stairwell and recording Smash Bottles and Forks played against a spinning bicycle wheel. The band found Lillywhite to be very encouraging and creative. Bono called him such a breath of fresh air, while The Edge said he had a great way of pulling the best out of everybody. The album's lead single, The Day Without Me, was released in August, although it did not chart. The song was the impetus for The Edge purchase of a delay effect unit, the Electro Harmonix Memory Man, which came to define his guitar playing style and had a big impact on the group's creative output. Now, released in 1980, Boy received generally positive reviews. Paul Morley of NME called it touching, precocious, full of archaic and modernist conviction, while Declan Lynch of Hot Press said he found it almost impossible to react negatively to U2's music. Bono's lyrics reflected on adolescence, innocence, and the passage into adulthood. Themes represented on the album covered through the photo of a young boy's face. Now, Boy did peak at number 52 in the UK, and get that, 63 in the United States, and was very strong in Canada and Quebec as well. The album included the band's first songs to receive airplay on U.S. radio, including the single I Will Follow, which reached number 20 on the Top Tracks rock chart. Boy's release was followed by the Boy Tour, U2's first tour of continental Europe and the U.S. Despite being unpolished, these early live performances demonstrated the band's potential, as critics complimented their ambition and Bono's exuberance. So, were it not for a bulletin board message in 1976, within 4 years, they were on the cusp of superstardom. And that's how it works in this world, ladies and gentlemen. It just takes one spark or one light. And ironically, how U2 is regarded in 2023 is completely different than regarded in 2000. But in 1980, when they were first coming out, they were leading the new protests, what I call pop rock that was getting to be big, talking about Nelson Mandela getting out, more recognition for gay people, black people internationally, fighting for human rights of all shapes and forms, the stopping of war, the problem with assassinations, how it destroys countries. You would basically, walk away, I will follow. It just takes two people not to fight. It takes two people to fight and two people not to fight. So amazing. And I saw them rise up from those early performances where they almost looked like a younger version of Duran Duran, of all people. I'm not joking. Handsome guys. And within 2 years, they were kind of, nearly at the top of the world. By 83, they were pretty well, if not the number one band in the world, pretty close to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's the early years of the Larry Mullen Band, Feedback and Hype, which led into U2. If you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share on our Vintage Rock podcast. And don't forget, if you ever want to get something for Christmas 2023, the original multi-release or multi-track of Boy is quite interesting. The cover art as well, iconic. Thanks for listening. Bye.